Welcome to our tutorial. Today we'll be showing you how to use a 4x5 film camera. To start off with, take the camera out of the box carefully. And place it securely onto your stand, making sure that it is steady and even. Make sure the viewer is facing outwards and that the lens is facing outwards in the other direction. Next step is to attach the bellows to the lens. Be careful when attaching. If you're not paying attention, the lens could slide out when it's become unsecured. Next step is to screw in your shutter release cable. Just to the left of the lens. Now, in order to be able to tell what your exposure should be, the best way to do it is to take your light meter and make a reading of your subject. In order to change your aperture, use the lever on the back of the lens and just slide it back and forth to get an aperture anywhere between 5.6 and 22. In order to change your shutter speed, use the dial also located on the lens. Your next step, you're going to want to open up your aperture. The only way to be able to focus your image is to be able to open the aperture so that you can see through the viewfinder. Open and close it by pressing up and down on the lever to the right of the lens. Next step, grab your blanket and your loupe and go behind the camera. Looking at the image in daylight will be too bright. You need to be under your blanket in order to see the image clearly. Now, don't worry, your image will be upside down, but that's normal. When you develop your film, it will be right side up. In order to adjust the focus, pull the knobs back and forth on both the front and the back of the camera in order to get a sharp image. Slide the front or the back of the camera up and down in order to change the view. Your image will either be higher or lower. Use your loupe in order to see just how sharp your image is. Press it right up against the screen and just give a scan to the entire image just to make sure everything's just the way you want it. Next, you want to go back to the front of the camera and close your aperture so that no light can get into your camera. Pull back the shutter release knob in order to prepare to take your shot. We're going to take a quick break. Now I'm going to show you how to load film into your film holder. This is what it looks like. Note there are two sides, which means each holder can hold two pieces of film and take two photos. To begin with, take the slider out. Note the slider has two sides. It has the white side and the black side. The white side you usually have facing out when your film has not been exposed, just to represent that your film has not been exposed. Once the photo is taken, you switch it to the dark side to show that your photo has been taken and that there shouldn't be another exposure placed on top. To begin with, clean your camera with the handy airbrush, making sure there's no dust particles. This is a piece of film that I accidentally exposed. Normally you would be doing this process in complete darkness. No cracks of light should be allowed in, as your film will fog. Also notice there are ridges on one side of the film. This is to tell you, in the dark without seeing, which way the film needs to go in. It should always be on the bottom left as you're holding the film canister like this. Start with, open up your flap and you just slide it in, like so. Do not touch the surface such as I did there. Close the flap, take your slider and just slide it neatly in. And there you go. Your film is loaded and you're ready to go. Now back to the camera. Load your film holder by pulling on the back of the viewer. Slide it in. Pull out the slider. Remember, the white side means that the image has not been exposed. Take the shutter release cable, and whenever you're ready, take a deep breath and take your image by pressing down on the shutter release button. Remembering that the black side should be facing out. Take your slider and slide it back into the canister. Slide it gently out, and you have your photo. You can also use the other side to take a second photo. In order to get your film developed, the best place to go is ImageWorks in downtown Toronto. Thank you for watching our tutorial. I hope you enjoy using your 4x5 film camera.